Okay.
It's a month. Christmas Eve is a month away.
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as Vida just referenced, it is 1 month before Christmas Eve. So it is November 24th, 2021. And we're here to do another MAAT session with you. My name is Margaret Major, and I am a registered counseling therapist here at the After Trauma Empowerment Network in Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia. I am joined with Vida Woodworth, who is chairperson on our board of directors and co-host for MAAT. And Kate Matthews is also here. You don't see Kate, and you probably never will see Kate because she isn't there herself on camera. But she's doing all the behind the scenes stuff that Vida and I can do. So 3 of us, and we see that Emmett is here. Thank you again, Emmett, for joining us and spending some time.
Emmett.
We greatly appreciate you being here. So before I forget, Vida, and we do our check-in, I got to do our diversity welcome because I totally missed the mark last time and just, yay, we got a big smile from Emmett. Okay.
I give Emmett a big smile back, but I can't.
Yeah, I don't know how
Don't
to
have
do
teeth.
reactions yet.
When I get my new teeth, I will give Emmett the biggest smile ever. So January, February-ish. Yeah.
Okay. We'll have a special show just for that, Vida.
A smile-a-thon.
Yeah. Okay, so I would like to welcome all women, men, transgender, and other identified individuals here today. I'd like to welcome everyone here who is a mother, father, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, son, daughter, grandmother, or grandfather. Welcome. I welcome people of all races, tribes, and descents. I welcome your bodies, your minds, and your energy. I welcome survivors and those who support them. I welcome all people single, married, partnered, dating, celibate, or involved in whatever sort of relationship is right for you. I welcome gay, lesbian, bisexual, heterosexual, queer, two-spirited, and others for whom none of the current labels fit. I welcome your emotions, your joy, your bliss, your rage, anger, hope, contentment, frustration, sadness, all of it. Welcome. I welcome everyone's special way of understanding and knowing the world. Everyone's wisdom, whether it is education that has been learned in schools, colleges, universities, and/or the deep and profound school of life. I welcome mystics, seekers, and believers of all kinds. I welcome people who identify as activists, community leaders, musicians, artists, group members, and those who don't. And finally, I'd like to welcome the ancestors who lived in this land where we are now. Welcome the spirits of Mi'kmaq, the natives who lived in this area before the Europeans came. I'd like to acknowledge them and invite their spirits to this space. Everyone, welcome. And also, thank you so much for being here. And I also want to extend that thanks and gratitude to the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia for their generous financial support for Project MAAT. And without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. So big thanks and gratitude to the Mental Health Foundation. Okay, so I'm working through my list. We got our diversity welcome. That's wonderful that I did not forget that. Okay, so Vida, let's do a check-in with you and see how you're doing today, this week. What's new? How are you staying warm in this cold weather?
Wow. What's new? Well, it is shopping season, and as you mentioned, it's only a month until Christmas. And so I have been doing my very, very best to try and stay local, and any gifts that I am looking for, I'm trying to make sure that they're in like a 20-mile radius. And so far, I've been able to get some really neat things. Like it's actually, it's been really fun to look locally, because the things that I'm seeing are things that maybe if I went to the bigger box stores, or even some of the online shopping that I have done, I wouldn't find. But some of our local businesses and artists and crafters and different people have some really, really nice things. And so I'm quite excited about the things that I've been able to find. And so that takes a lot of stress off, I guess, in the sense that I just, it's not about how much the gift is or any of that for me. It's just, I really like to think about the person and what I think they might like. And I've been able to find some pretty unique things. So, yeah. And I know this time of year, people are like, have you got your shopping done, or have you started it? And I definitely started mine. Yeah, I'm the kind of person that all year round, I when I see something, I try to, it sounds like I spend my whole life shopping. I don't, but if I see something that reminds me of someone and I'm able to get it, I do. And, maybe later on for a birthday, or just because, or thinking of you gift, or if it's Christmas or whatever. But my only problem is then I put them away and I can't find them.
Oh,
And so, it's kind of like surprise every now and again when I'm doing a little tidying, I'll find
that's fun
things
though when
that
that happens.
it is, yeah. So it's always good if whatever I've gotten I like as well, because I may have already then gone out and found that person something else. And so it might be something that either I end up keeping, or maybe finding another person that will enjoy it. So yeah. So doing busy with that, and I've been busy kind of with you. We had our open house last Thursday. Was it? No, Friday, last Friday, the 19th.
Yeah.
And we had some people who came and stayed, which was wonderful. And I said to you earlier, it was kind of like having a little group.
We had a great
Yeah.
conversation, and
We
so much
did.
so we went an extra hour over.
We did. Our open house went from 2 to 4, and we were just starting to think about getting up to leave around 5. So, and it was nice, and I really appreciate that the people who took the time to come and see where our new location is, and to find out a little bit about what we do. But also we got to find out about what they do, which was even better.
Yeah.
And so, and then we had a couple of meetings where we're hoping to be able to find some funding that is core funding. So we're not always having to do fundraising and that kind of thing. And that's interesting too, because again, you get to meet people and share again what we're doing, but also hear from their perspective what they're involved with and what they see. So I'm so happy that I'm able to volunteer this time, and I'm really enjoying it. It is not work to me. It's as we've probably said many times, something I enjoy doing, and which makes it even better. So Yeah. Issues. Been watching the news and lots of stuff happening. You know, the big flooding out west in BC, and now we've had our own storm this week. And on the way here, Kate was showing me some pictures from Cape Breton, and I know just driving around the local area, we have the rivers are quite high. And probably there are some people that are experiencing flooding.
Mhm.
I haven't heard anything. I didn't get to see the news to see Truro is usually quite affected by flooding. And if there are any other parts of the province, I think Cape Breton is still getting some rain, and Newfoundland is soon, if it's not already, getting pounded by wind and probably rain, depending on where the part of the province there you live in Newfoundland
Yeah.
and Labrador. So yeah, big issues. I don't know.
You don't need to find any.
No. And I won't make
We know
up
there's
any
lots
either.
out there.
There are lots out there, but nothing that jumps to my mind at the moment. So yeah, I think I'll kind of let it go, and I think that's it. If I think of something, you know, I'll always let you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but generally, I'm doing well, and I'm very grateful that I'm doing well. So, I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something that I want to add to something that you mentioned about shopping local. I just wanted to acknowledge thanks and gratitude to the local shops and businesses that have made donations to attend for an online auction that we're going to be hosting December 5th to the 12th. We, like you were saying, how you're finding unique things, and I mean, there's so much talent in every community, and I mean, with arts, it could be a stone to a painting to something made from wood, or you know, metal and iron. It's to nice smelly essential oils, right? And shopping local, yeah, support local. It's there's amazing gifts and gift ideas and talent and all that. So I just wanted, and we'll talk more maybe next week about our
Yes.
online auction, because we'll probably have pretty much collected everything that we're going to be offering in that auction, and we'll be more than happy to share that with people. So we'll do that next week. And also next week we have I guess I'm not sure, she knows 8 instruments. Josie Ann.
Oh, she taught herself 8 instruments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so excited to
yeah,
to just talk to her about that journey, because wow, 8. Yeah. I'm having a hard enough time with the guitar.
and just to clarify, she is a doctor, Josiane. So the instruments we're talking about are musical instruments, not medical instruments or
yes, I should
or
have
others.
clarified. Yes.
Yeah, just, but I mean, maybe I'm sure she knows how to use 8 medical instruments because she did research, and if nothing else, she probably knows her way around a Petri dish and a Bunsen burner. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to hearing more about how she did that, and not just learn how to play. She actually has traveled around the world playing, and yeah, so it'll be very, very interesting.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
So something that we are going to touch on today, it being Movember, and recognizing men's health, mental health, prostate cancer, suicide prevention, all those important topics. Movember has become a time to, like all awareness raising. This is time to learn and educate others and just have the conversations about men's health. And because we focus a lot on mental health, trauma and abuse and that sort of thing, we thought that we would just spend a little bit of time talking about men's mental health. And I may or may not play a song. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to pick up that guitar sitting beside me and actually strum out a tune, maybe a verse or something. And then we'll have to see if the YouTube police pick up on it and make me into it. We need someone to help direct us with that, Vida, because
yes.
I don't understand how majority of YouTube is cover videos, but whenever we try to do something, we get nabbed. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
But we'll get it figured out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before we talk about men's mental health, I just wanted to bring attention to another fundraiser we're doing. So we've got three fundraisers kind of on the go right now. So we've got our calendar, our Mindfulness calendar fundraiser. They're going pretty quick. We may have to order a second batch. We'll have to see, but that fundraiser is going awesome. And we are going to, with the funds we raise, we're going to purchase resources here for the center, some workbooks for clients, and just books and art supplies for clients, because we know the therapeutic benefits of art. So having art bags and art packages that we can give clients. That's what our goal is with our funding. So the other fundraiser is the online auction that will be happening the 5th to the 12th of December. And then the other one is the Community Heroes Quilt. So I'm going to screen share here for a sec. So this is the Community Heroes Quilt that I have been working on for the past probably couple of months. Has it been, Vida? I think.
Yeah, I think we're a couple.
So in this quilt, so this is just the cover part of the quilt. It's not quilted yet because we're not finished with the quilt yet. There's 768 squares in that quilt. And they were all sewn together by me and my machine. There are 15 hearts. There are 221 white squares. So what we're doing with this fundraiser is we're selling the white squares and we're selling the hearts. And Vida bought this incredible machine that can embroider and sew names on fabric. So we will embroider your name. Could be Vida, could be in memory of somebody, could be your pet's name, could be your business name, your organization or your shop, could be words of encouragement that you want to publicize on the quilt. It's whatever you choose, because you buy the square and then you tell us what you want on it and we will put it on there. So the white squares are $50 and the hearts are $150. You can find more information on our website. There's an order form on there and our email address to send that to. But it's just a couple of more pictures. Let me see if I can do this. There. So that's just an example. That's not actual embroidered. That's just a print. But that's, once we get all the squares and the hearts sold and embroidered, I will then quilt the quilt, and then the finished quilt will be put in, displayed in local businesses and organizations throughout the year, so that it's kind of sharing that sense of community with each other by having that displayed in our community. And there's so many heroes in our community.
Yeah, it's a nice reminder. I'm sure there, how many white squares did you say?
221.
We probably have way more than 221 heroes in our community, people who make a difference probably, every day. But this will be, after the first quilt is finished, it'll be a reminder, whether you're, depending on where it's on display, you may go to the bank one day and there it is. And it may be a reminder to you, that if you purchased a square, there's your name up there. And just knowing that other people will see that name and know that, this person has made a difference in the community. And, and then it may be in another place at another time. So it's kind of a really, I mean, when I think about it, I'm hoping to have a name on there, and how much it'll mean just to know that that person's name is there and that other people will see it. And they may not know the person, but I know them, and I know that, that person has made a difference in the community. So I think it's, you and Julie came up with this great idea, and I think it's wonderful, that a lot of people, most heroes or people who go around quietly doing things that make a difference don't always want the recognition, and they don't want people to toot their horn, as they say.
Yeah.
But I think, this is a way to do it quietly yet respectfully, and just as a reminder that there are lots and lots of good things that happen in our world, because we deal with a lot of not so good things that happen, and sometimes it's easy to get caught up in that negative atmosphere. But we look at that quilt and we see that there's a lot of good that's happening too.
Yeah. And a quilt is a symbol of warmth and safety to someone who's experienced trauma.
Yeah, and comfort.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of things.
I've loved every minute working on it so far. Like, I was so excited to go to the fabric store, and then so excited to sew them together, and then to get more and more and more, watching it grow and grow by 16 block. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And I can't wait to get it finished. Like, I want to get all the squares done so that I can work on it some more.
Yeah. Yes. Well, at least your fingers and hands are getting a bit of a rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because they do take. You wouldn't think that your fingers would take a beating during quilting, but the pokes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll move off from that because it's almost 7:30 already, Violet.
Wow.
I know. Whew. So I have notes. I have lots of notes. Yeah, I may have to go through them at some point just to make sure that I get to all my notes. So, men's mental health is where we're going to go for a minute. So, there's a lot of different areas that we can focus on when it comes to men's mental health. One that I am going to focus on is depression, and how that kind of manifests and looks differently in men or males than females and women. And there's the high difference in suicide rates as well, when it comes to women compared to men, or men compared to women. Sorry, I didn't word that. So there's lots of there's different symptoms. I realize I keep saying so. I don't mean to keep saying so. Maybe
Julie,
I hit a buzzer every time I do it.
yeah. Well, Julie reminded us how often we said, yeah.
I think
And
we're out of that. Now we're
I
in
think, yes, I think we have moved on to sew. Well, you're sewing a quilt, so maybe that's why.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very clever, Ryan. So first of all, there, I just did it.
It's okay.
Okay. When it comes to men's mental health, it's different for many reasons. For a man to try to access support, to even say or acknowledge, I'm experiencing difficulties here. Like that's a toughie.
Yeah.
A lot of males may present at the doctor with the physical symptoms of depression, not knowing that it's actually depression that they're dealing with, but it's only manifesting, and they're only aware of the physical symptoms, not the emotional or the behavioral symptoms that go along with depression. And I'll mention what those symptoms are, just in case you're watching this and you're experiencing some of these symptoms, or you know someone in your life who you observe them maybe experiencing some of these things. So
Darn.
I know, there you go. Symptoms for depression, when it comes to men and women, there are some symptoms that are the same. One distinguishing difference is women in our society, in our culture, tend to identify sadness with depression. And they may feel okay expressing that, verbalizing that, identifying what I feel is sadness, crying about that. It's not so safe or acceptable for men to identify that way with depression. So for guys, for men, sometimes it manifests in anger, in irritability, could be control, could be abusive relationships. It doesn't, because it's not acceptable for males or men in our society to feel sadness or to cry. That whole man up bullshit, like, what does that even mean? But these are societal expectations and norms that we've placed on any and every gender. But for males, it's hard for it to be recognized that what they might be dealing with is depression, when they're not allowed to even necessarily explore or acknowledge that part of themselves. And some behavioral, what they do. Are we still here?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh,
Did I go away for a minute?
no. I
My
think we
screen
didn't.
went away for a minute.
Oh.
That's why I had a mini panic attack there. My heart's still pounding because I'm like, oh.
Oh, you're still there, Margaret.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just thinking as you were talking, Margaret, that
Yes.
all of us, no matter how we identify our gender, are socialized based on what that identification is. And we now know today too that, the old way of thinking, as they call it, the binary, where you're either a male or you're a female and there's no other option. We now know that there are people who are not on the binary, that are non-binary and are somewhere in between. But as how other people identify you, society has expectations on the kinds of things the way we're supposed to act and how we're supposed to behave. And as you were mentioning, men are taught not to show sadness. They may feel sad, but the way someone, you know, when you're sad, often crying is associated with sadness, but men are taught and boys are taught that boys don't cry and men don't cry because it's a sign of weakness. And because men and boys are taught to be strong and have power and be in control, crying is something that we don't attach to that. Whereas it's more commonly expected that girls and women cry. And you mentioned too, when you were talking about, you know, maybe they are angry or showing it in some other way, when somebody is made to suppress the feeling that they're having for whatever reason, sometimes it manifests itself in a different way or in a different behavior. So it's acceptable in our society and the way we're taught for men to be angry and to show anger. So if you're suppressing that you're sad and you can't show it, then that then maybe comes out as anger and acting angry. So you know, men are constantly fighting their emotions and also feeling guilty because they're feeling an emotion that maybe they've been taught men aren't supposed to have. So it's just a vicious cycle of, you know, constantly fighting something, and, you know, it comes out in another way, and then that other way is also problematic, and so on. So, you know, when you're saying these things, it makes sense that when we talk about mental health for men, why it becomes difficult for men to even ask for help. Because when you're asking for help, you're saying, I can't figure something out, or I'm not in control, or I don't know the answer. And for men, society's taught them that you're supposed to always know those things.
Yes, you can.
So,
no.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense why it's been so difficult. And I'm so glad that we're now starting to talk about it, and men are starting to talk about it. Yeah.
And it even that anger, well, it's been said before that anger from men is no, sorry, I'm getting my words jumbled. Depression is anger directed inward. So there's a lot of anger directed at themselves as well. And part of it is because of the reasons that you just identified, where they might not feel like they measure up to that societal standard of what's expected of a man. How they're supposed to. And we've done when we've done our presentation on gender and sexuality, and we've done the act like a man, act like a lady, we've gotten some you know, some pretty, I don't even know what word to use to describe some of the terms that we've heard from audiences and participants in regards to what a typical guy is. Like some of them were pretty degrading and insulting and disrespectful. And I mean, the same could be said about women too, because our female list is usually has a nastiness too.
And often it's labels get put on people by other people because they aren't doing or acting the way that person thinks they should. And it's usually not a positive label that is put on someone. And then those labels are often chosen because they have an attachment to something else negative. You know, as an example, for a man, maybe who cries. Besides having someone say, you know, you're weak or you're acting like a girl, and which means that to that person, girls obviously aren't as good as men, or you're acting gay or you're gay. And, you know, of course, we can list off all the old slang terms, you know, pansy and all those words that people came up with.
Yeah.
You know, again, if a man is, you know, worried that people are going to question his sexual orientation if he acts a certain way, when he expresses his real emotions, then of course he may try and suppress that if he also believes that being gay isn't a good thing. You know, so it's just, there's so much pressure put on everyone by those, what we hoped were old ways of thinking that are still alive and well. I mean, I picked up a flyer that came in the mail this week, and here were toys, and the toys were very clearly, one group were for boys, and they were in greens and blues and blacks and reds, and the other group of toys, although they were the same things, were in pinks and pastel colors, and were labeled toys for girls and toys for boys. And so, as you know, people say, well, it's just a toy, but that adds on top of a pile of all these other places where people get, and kids get messages. You know, going to the rink and watching a group of boys play hockey and hearing their coach, oh, you got to play harder, you're playing like a bunch of girls. There's another message that, you know, they add onto their pile. And, you know, so it just continues, and whether or not they know it, they start buying into that stereotypical belief system that is still all around us, everywhere we look.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
The conditioning and socialization.
Yeah.
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 I know.
Yeah.
Well, we try to do what we can when we have opportunities to raise awareness or education.
Yes. Yeah.
There was one thing. Okay, so I got. How many times have I said so?
I don't know, Margaret.
Man.
It's okay.
So these are behavioral signs when it comes to depression in men. And you may observe or experience all of these or none of these, but these are typically observed in males. Men. Drinking more or taking drugs. Avoiding family and social interactions. Working obsessively without taking proper breaks. And that's a whole other side topic right there about men and work.
Yeah.
And how a lot of men equate their value from the work that they do. And
how much? How much work they do and what kind of work they're doing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how much, how long of it, like working 16-hour days and things like, yeah. Okay, another behavioral sign is finding it hard to keep up with work or family responsibilities, becoming more controlling or abusive in relationships, engaging in risk-taking behaviors such as gambling or unsafe sex, and attempting suicide. So those are behavioral signs observed in men from the research.
I'm even thinking things like driving erratically or really, you know, driving fast, you know, or going and jumping off the bridge to go swimming and knowing that, you know, nobody's ever jumped off of there before, and what are you doing, and then still doing it. That kind of, well, I'll jump off, and if I make it, I make it, and if I don't, I don't. That ambivalence, you know, over what the outcome could be. And and that can be in anything that they're doing.
Oh yeah, there's many different risk-taking behaviors that, and I mean that also speaks to a sense of self-value as well. How they feel about their self, their value, and their worth.
Nobody will care if I die, or if, you know, if I get hurt. I can't do my job anyway, so what's the difference? Or I'm not making enough money to support my family. So, you know, all those kinds of things that people will justify um, that negative thinking about themselves because they buy into the stereotypes. I have to be strong and powerful and in control and make more money and support my family. But if I'm not doing those, then I'm worthless. I'm not good enough.
Right.
Nobody cares about me. Like it just feeds
I have no
into,
value.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
value.
Yeah. And even looking out and around in the community, and well, there's all kinds of places for, women and children to get help, but I don't see a whole lot for men. So I must be the only man that feels this way. And there must be something wrong with me because I'm feeling that way. Even that, I think, communicates a message when we don't name, that we provide, that an organization provides services to anyone. Sometimes it's we need to say it's everyone, and that includes men, and that includes people who identify as other than male or female.
Yeah.
You have to name it in order for the person to feel like, oh, I am worth having something to help me. I have value. And it's okay. There are other people that feel like this, so it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And there have been, because a barrier is lack of, I guess, role models or examples of people going and accessing help and what kind of
Yeah.
help and support is there.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of people in media. I'm thinking in hockey, in particular, that have come out and talked about their mental health struggles and issues, and that's helpful in that it starts a conversation. I mean, somebody may go, oh, Carrie Price, like, oh, well, I can go talk to someone.
Yeah.
But if we continue not having these conversations and these sharing of our humanness with each other, we don't know that it's okay to go and talk to someone. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm biased. I think everyone should have a therapist.
Yeah.
But I am biased about that because
Yeah.
I'm a therapist. But we all need that person that we can go to who's objective, who's not judgmental, who's safe for us, and unload some of that stuff, because we're all human.
Yeah.
We all need that.
Yeah.
Some emotional signs in men for depression, which we've already kind of mentioned, 4 main ones: anger, frustration, aggression, and irritability. So it's not necessarily doesn't contain the sadness element that it may or may not for women who are experiencing depression. It will come out in those ways. Now, I did have one more list. The physical signs. So we've looked at the behavioral, the emotional, and these are the physical signs of depression. And men may more identify or recognize these symptoms more so than the emotional ones or the behavioral ones, because somebody just, participating in high risk behaviors, what's the big deal? If they don't understand that it's coming from a mental health perspective of value or whatever. So some common physical signs or symptoms in men is headaches, tightness in chest, could be muscle aches, back pain, joint pain, pain in your limbs, digestive problems. Digestive problems are huge when it comes to our mental health, because our gut and our brain, like there's a book, I haven't read through the entire book yet because it's a little bit of a challenging read, I must say. It's called The Second Brain, and it's about how our our gut has it's a brain of its own, but yet they work together. And when one's off, woo, does it ever affect the other one? Like there's amazing, amazing research and work on the correlation between, you know, even mind and body in that way. Tiredness, feeling tired all the time, sleeping too much or too little, eating too much or too little. Some people are overeat, some people undereat, depending on just their mood and who they are. If I'm really stressed, if I've got a lot going on, sometimes I can undereat. That's what I've learned about myself. So I need to, when I have a lot of funding application deadlines and demands, I need to make sure that I'm not, you know, skipping this meal or not eating at all.
I remember just along that, my dad, we knew when he was worrying about something because he was a very regular eater. He ate at the same time every day, ate the same foods basically all the time. And he would tell you, if he were here tonight to tell you, he would go to the bathroom at exactly the same time every day. But if any of those things were out of sync, if he didn't notice it, then we noticed, you know, there's something going on. And Dad used to, and then he would then worry about that because he wasn't, something wasn't working right. But, you know, sometimes for noticing in men, or Dad was one, you know, he went to bed at a certain time and he got up at a certain time. But if that changed, especially if it changed and it stayed that way, you know, not just one bad night he didn't sleep, but a few nights, then again, that showed us, and it probably told him there was something going on. So like you mentioned before, for those of us that are looking at the men and boys in our lives, you know, sometimes it isn't as easy to get them to tell us verbally, but sometimes they're telling us in their physical, how they're feeling physically. Yeah,
it's almost easier to say I have a headache or an upset stomach today rather than I'm feeling sad or alone. Any of those.
And this is a little graphic, but my dad would tell you he had diarrhea way faster than he would tell you he was worried about something, or that he was stressed. And so again, the things that men are more comfortable to share are sometimes quite a bit different than the things that women might talk about. So again, being in tune with them and knowing what's kind of normal for them. And I don't like the word normal, but how they usually are. And then when that changes, and if it's, you know, not just a kind of a blip in the radar, but it's something that has changed and is staying that way.
Feeling restless or agitated, just uneasy, unable to kind of settle down, just, you know, got to do something. And unintentional weight loss. I could.
You mentioned suicide, Margaret, when you were listening. I just wondered if you were going to, you know, kind of touch, because I know people sometimes say, well, it seems like it's women all the time trying to kill themselves. And just if you want to mention kind of what the difference is.
Yes, good. So women are more likely to try, but men are 3.5 times more likely to die from suicide, because the means that they use is lethal. We're going to get this done. And that is substantially higher. And I don't have a number for like in Canada, the number of men. I don't have a breakdown in regards to suicide
Yeah.
and gender in that capacity, but it has been identified that it's 3.5 times more.
Yeah. 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 Men are most certainly more likely to, the method they choose to use is often way more lethal than the methods that women will choose. So yes, when they look, I think at statistics, women are almost 3.5 times more likely to attempt, but men are 3.5 times more likely to be successful,
Yeah.
if you want to say it that way. And you know, by all means, like all of the things we've said, you know, women may choose a very lethal method.
Yes.
And men may, it's not that only men do this and men and women only do that. It's, you know, there is crossover for sure. Yeah. But when we look at it, you know, the symptoms and things primarily, this is what we've noticed when we look at the differences between genders. If we were to look at specific groups of men, for example, Indigenous men would be more likely than men in general, or trans men would be more likely, or, you know, gay men. So there are certain populations within the genders that also may increase the risk of suicide or attempting suicide. But again, we need to kind of know the slight differences, because if we want to be able to provide services and support for people, we need to know how to kind of structure those things, or for lack of a better word, to market them so that they meet those differences and those different needs for people. So yeah,
and they reach the intended audience. We're almost out of time, by now.
I see that.
So sorry,
that's okay.
Something I just wanted to mention quickly about talking with somebody in your life if you're worried about maybe you heard a couple of symptoms here and you've been observing that in your partner or your brother or maybe a coworker. You can just gently ask, hey, I've noticed that you've been missing a lot of time. Is there anything going on that you would like to talk about? Are you feeling okay?
Yeah.
And do not judge. Judgment is one of the most toxic, worst things that we can do with each other, is judge. And if somebody shares something with you that they're struggling with anger, frustration, or hopelessness, helplessness, and if you don't know what to do or what to say, it's okay to say that. It's okay to say, we'll find that answer together. I'll help support you. We'll figure this out. I'm here for you. Or if you're not able to be there for them, just say, I'll connect you with someone who can help
you. Yeah.
The people aren't looking for you to fix everything. Sometimes people just need a direction to go. Like sometimes we get calls here where people aren't sure if they can access our services or not, if they qualify, and it takes a lot of courage for someone to reach out in that way. So if somebody ever does disclose or share with you, or you ask someone in your life and you're not sure how to answer or how to respond, it's okay to say, I don't know that answer, but we'll find it out together, and I'll help you figure this out.
Yeah. There's a couple of things that I learned, I guess, over time is one is if somebody comes to you and says, I need to ask you a question. I have this friend and, you know, this is what's going on. And you might be sitting there going, I'm pretty sure they're talking about themselves. But just remember when somebody comes to you and says, I have a friend, that for whatever reason, they feel safe enough to talk about the friend. They're not ready to talk about themselves and it's them. So just kind of go with the friend. Okay, well, this friend could do, could do this, or maybe the friend just needs to talk to somebody, and what kinds of questions did your friend ask you, and just encourage that. The other thing is, anytime somebody's behavior changes, that's a signal that something's going on, and that's true for men and women, no matter how you identify your gender.
Yeah, any gender. Yeah.
Any gender. A change in behavior is, and if you notice that, is an opportunity, an opening for you to say, Margaret, I've known you for quite a while now, and I've noticed lately that this has changed. Is there anything going on? Anything you'd like to talk about? And then that opens the door. If you want to talk, you can. And if you say, well, no, Vida, no, I can't think of anything, then that's okay too. But at least you kind of let that person know. I've let you know that if you did want to talk, that I'm okay to do that with you. And so don't just ask once. If it continues and you still notice stuff, then keep asking. Not every 10 minutes, but because then you're annoying. But try and let the person know, in as many ways as you can, or well, maybe you don't want to talk to me, but I have this really good friend, and I find him or her very helpful just to listen. Maybe that you'd like to talk to them and see if that opens the door. But I guess the big thing I was taught was not to ignore changes in behavior, because they're almost always 99.9% a signal that something is going on. Yeah. And sometimes it's a good thing. But a lot of times it's something that person is struggling with, and they just don't know how to approach you. So
yeah, and sometimes people don't know how to say I'm hurting or I'm struggling.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to say that.
Yeah. They don't have the words.
And we'll put underneath the video when I upload it, we'll put a couple of phone numbers for reaching out. There'll be a suicide prevention line and mental health support number there, and we're here as well.
I know there's a program in Halifax that they started in the African Nova Scotian community with Black men, and it was at barbershops, and they had a couple of barbershops that, or maybe even just one, and they made it a point of one, especially I think one evening a week. They kind of made it where it was time, if people want to come and hang out, because you don't always go to a barbershop just to get your hair done. You sometimes, or not hair done, get your hair cut. you might go just to see your buddies, or see what's going on. And so they decided that they would talk about things like mental health and men's health, because men accessing health, just physical health, is often affected by the way they're socialized. So there may be, we've heard places where they kind of have a get together once a week where everybody comes and just does a pickup ball game in the summer. And the group that started hanging out, and they'd sit down after and have a few beverages, or maybe just sit and talk, and just talk about those kinds of issues. And there were a few men in the group who agreed, if somebody doesn't bring it up, I'll bring it up and see. And then eventually those groups became places where it's safe for men to go and talk to their peers about these kinds of issues. So, we need to find ways to make safer spaces in our communities for a lot of different groups and individuals, but in particular men. And men need to find places to make it safe for men. It's okay to have, women doing the work for men and men doing the work for women, but sometimes it makes a big difference when it's a person that you can really identify with, someone that walks the same kind of walk every day as you do, or a similar, has similar life experiences. So, we can all take a bit of this and try and make a difference, and just, places to go hang out that are safe, that, when you start talking, nobody's going to make fun of you, or you're not going to hear about it the next day
So
at
good.
work.
Yeah.
Creating safe places are so important for so many reasons.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Good stuff, Vida.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for saying all that, because in reading off my sheets, you just added a lot of very important points that we needed to hear.
Yeah.
And one other thing that I just want to say before we go, because we're actually after 8 o'clock,
Oh.
is you are so not alone. You are not alone.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not alone.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we'll conclude on that for this session. Although, like all our topics we pick, Vida, we could go for
Forever.
a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, since it's after 8, I'm probably not going to do the song on the guitar. We'll wait on that.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think you're too disappointed, are you, Vida?
Well, my interpretive dance that was going to go with it isn't quite ready yet. Maybe next time.
I know. Maybe it'll be next time. I'll just keep bringing the guitar until one of these days I get it out.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got that one back there.
And I'll get my ballet slippers out and
yes,
off we'll go.
And you can dance to Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to do our loving kindness meditation, so that, we leave on that note, nice peaceful note. So for the next minute, or probably minute and a half or two, you just need to just allow yourself to be in this space. Put all your stresses and all your worries up on the shelf for the next couple of minutes. Hear the sounds in the room around you. Just allowing your breathing just to be natural. You don't need to control it in any way. Begin to feel any tension you might be holding in your body. Now begin to feel that tension start to drain away from you, from around your eyes, your face, through your neck, your shoulders, and down your arms. Feel any tension drain like a liquid down through your body and out through your toes. Now begin to feel your body fill up with love. Imagine a loving white light entering your feet and traveling up through your body, up to your stomach, to your chest and your arms. Feel it almost bursting through your heart, your fingers, and through the crown of your head. And when you feel embraced in that love, silently repeat the following words to yourself. May I be free from all harm. May I be safe and protected. May I be free from all suffering. May I be happy. May I be free from all disease and physical pain. May I be healthy and strong. And may I be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. Now turn your thoughts to this vast world, this huge earth with all its living creatures. Continue to feel that love bursting through your body as you silently say, may all beings be free from all harm. May they be safe and protected. May all beings be free from all suffering. May they be happy. May all beings be free from all disease and physical pain. May they be healthy and strong. May all beings be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. Send your love as far out around the world as possible. And just imagine that energy traveling through the earth. Continue to feel that love. Carry it with you through the rest of your day. Notice how you're feeling in this present moment, in the now. And when you are ready, you may slowly open your eyes. Oops. Oops. There we go.
Picture troubles.
I think I dinged them 4 times there. Oops.
Yeah.
What was that thing you showed me earlier, Vida? What was the name of that instrument?
The harmony drum.
Ooh, I can't wait to get one of those.
Yes.
Show that on the show. Yes, a harmony drum. Sounds even beautiful. Oh, yes, it's exciting. Okay, so that concludes our November 24th. We will be back next week, December 1st, with Josie Ann talking music and probably neuroscience, since she's a doctor in neuroscience. Yes.
Yes. And next,
we'll have a lot to talk.
December 1st is also World AIDS Day too. So
okay. We'll be
that one
that for sure.
Yeah.
And then December 8th, we have Sean Leonard, Spirit Talker.
Wow.
I know. And then the 22nd, we're probably doing a Christmas special. I've got a couple of people I'm waiting to hear back about joining us for a Christmas special. Oh, from Emmett.
Oh,
Happy belated World Toilet Day. That
Ah,
was last Friday.
yeah.
The 19th was World Toilet Day.
Wow. Well, and is Santa one of the guests on the 22nd, or are you allowed to
Oh.
even say?
Maybe I can't say yet.
Okay. Just Santa's pretty busy around that time, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
And I even thought there might be caroling. I'm not sure.
Oh,
We'll have to see how our schedules jive together. But
yes.
yeah, we'll explore that.
Yes. Well, if we can't get the 10 carolers to come, we may be able to get the Finger Puppet Woodland Creatures Choir to be here that
To
night.
perform. Yes.
Yes.
The stage and everything.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll see what happens, Vida.
Yes. It's exciting.
Before we go, I wanna say a big thanks to Emmett and MJ for spending some
Yes.
time with us tonight. We appreciate you being here. And to everyone, take care of yourself and take care of each other and be well.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.